Now, I'd like to talk about the workspace I always wished it existed. If I had to describe it in one sentence, it's a space where you can focus even more than at Starbucks. You realize you've been working longer than you usually do at Starbucks. As you'll see if you watch my vlog, I really love Starbucks. I can actually focus really well there. But at the same time, the more I went there, the more I started to think, I wish I could do this here, or I wish they had something like this. And that's when I realized if all of those little wishes could be fulfilled, it could become a space where you can focus even longer than you can at Starbucks. And I also thought, maybe I'm not the only one who feels this way. And if that kind of space existed, it could help people achieve what they want faster in the limited time we all have in life. So these are the 4 things I kept wishing for. 1. A space that lifts your mood like Akari lights. 2. An environment where people motivate each other. 3. Clean air so you can work in a healthy environment. 4. Bringing your own food and fair, accessible pricing. Let me talk about each of these one by one. 1. A space that lifts your mood, Akari. First of all, I really love Isamnouchi's Akari lights. These kinds of lights. So I often imagine how nice it would be to walk in space surrounded by these lights. I feel like just being in that kind of atmosphere would naturally lift your mood. And when your mood goes up, your work or study might flow better than in any other environment. Also, when you get tired, just looking at an Akari light near your seat might help you relax. It could help you reset your mind and get back to working again. And if each seat had a different Akari light, changing seats could give you a slightly different feeling each time. At the end of this video, I'll also show a clip from my vlog, showing my first experience when I first discovered an Akari space. 2. An environment where people motivate each other. Another thing I really like is being around people who are working hard. People who are focused on their work or studies. I think humans are creatures that are influenced by the people around them, in a good way and sometimes in a bad way. So if you are surrounded by people who are quietly working or studying, you might naturally feel motivated. For example, when you feel like stopping, you look around and see someone still working. Then you might think, maybe I'll do a little more. Of course, Starbucks is a cafe, so naturally many people come there to talk with friends. And sometimes those conversations can break your focus. Of course, some people prefer the lively atmosphere. But for people who want to focus deeply, a different kind of environment might help. 3. Healthy air environment. Another thing I thought about is the air. Things like air purifiers and humidifiers during winter. Winter is cold, the air gets dry, and people get sick more easily. I've personally had times when I caught a cold and couldn't study or work for several days. When that happens, all the extra effort you've been putting can suddenly be cancelled out or even set back. But honestly, there aren't many workspaces outside home that take air quality seriously. So I thought it would be really nice if a workspace also cared about the air environment. 4. bringing your own food and fair, accessible pricing. The last point is about bringing your own food and the price. First of all, I really love Starbucks food. Everything is genuinely delicious. And I also appreciate how many drink options they have. There are so many sweet and tasty choices too. And when you work for long hours, you naturally start to feel hungry. So in places like Starbucks, you expect you to order something from the menu. And of course, that's completely normal. But sometimes I feel like if I had the choice to eat something simple I brought from home, like a rice bowl or some chocolate, I'd probably choose that instead. When I go somewhere to work, I don't really need food that's as high quality as Starbucks. As long as I can fill myself up without spending too much, that's more than enough for me. I'd rather use the extra money for books, eating out, or spending time with the people around me. It might sound a bit frugal, or maybe even a bit stingy. And to be honest, I'm not really a fan of Starbucks coffee. It's a bit too bitter for me. So if I'm being honest, I'd rather grab a coffee from a convenience store or just bring water from home. That's why I sometimes wish I could bring my own drinks into space like Starbucks. So in a way, I always think of what I pay for coffee as paying for the space. And even if a space like this existed, I'd still want to go to Starbucks from time to time. So ideally, there'd be membership options like weekdays only or weekends only plans. That way, I could use this space on certain days while still going to Starbucks on the others. And if a workspace like this existed, I'd hope it would be priced in a way that makes it as easy as possible to keep coming. Maybe around the price of 1 or 2 cups of coffee at Starbucks. Of course, if a place like this really existed, I think I'd be willing to pay a price that reflects its value. But at the same time, if I were to actually run a place like this as a business, it would need to be sustainable. Even with a rough estimate, it seems like it would take at least around 6 to 7 million yen to cover the initial costs and the first year of fixed expenses. And to be honest, compared to the cost and the risk, the profit doesn't seem that big. So if I just wanted to grow my money safely, I'd probably be better off putting more money into NISA or focusing on my current work. Especially since I've actually failed once before. But even so, it's still something I'd love to create one day. Honestly, more than anyone, I want to be the one working and studying English in a space like that. Ending, and these are the things I've always wished for in a workspace. This is the kind of place I wish existed. Maybe one day, I'd love to try creating it.